The auction hall on Vex Prime was louder than a battlefield. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy filled the massive building. Rich merchants, military commanders, treasure hunters, and collectors sat in rows that stretched farther than the eye could see. Giant screens hung from the ceiling, showing every item that was being sold. One by one, rare treasures appeared on the stage. Ancient weapons. Lost technologies. Luxury starships. Each item received dozens of bids. The crowd cheered whenever the price climbed higher. For hours, the auction continued. Then the auctioneer stepped forward and raised his hand. The hall slowly became quiet. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced. "Our final item for today." A large image appeared on the giant screen. The moment the image appeared, the room reacted strangely. Some aliens laughed. Some shook their heads. Others whispered to each other. A few looked nervous. The ship on the screen was called the Black Nova. It was long, dark, and covered in strange markings. Parts of its hull looked damaged. Its engines appeared dead. It looked more like a floating wreck than a valuable spacecraft. The auctioneer forced a smile. The legendary Black Nova. A wave of laughter moved through the crowd. Everyone knew the story. Over 200 years ago, the ship had been discovered drifting near a dead star. Since then, many owners had tried to repair it. Every attempt had failed. Scientists could not understand its technology. Engineers could not activate its systems. Collectors spent fortunes trying to unlock its secrets. Nothing worked. Every owner eventually sold it and accepted their losses. The Black Nova had become famous across the galaxy. Not because it was valuable. Because it was useless. "Who would buy that thing?" one alien shouted. The crowd laughed again. Another alien stood up and pointed at the screen. "My cousin owned it for 6 months. Biggest mistake of his life." More laughter followed. Even the auctioneer looked uncomfortable. He cleared his throat and continued. "Despite its history, the Black Nova remains one of the greatest mysteries ever discovered." Nobody seemed interested. The silence in the room grew heavier. The auctioneer checked his display. Then he announced the starting price. No one raised a hand. Not a single bid appeared. The crowd remained silent. Several people even looked away. The ship had become a joke. Nobody wanted to waste money on it. The auctioneer tried again. "Surely someone is interested." Nothing. A full minute passed. Still no bids. Then, near the back of the hall, a human sat quietly in his seat. His name was Ethan Cole. Unlike most people in the room, Ethan was not rich. He was not a famous explorer. He was not a military officer. He was simply a mechanic. For years, he repaired damaged ships in small stations across the galaxy. Most people barely noticed him. But Ethan was staring at the image of the Black Nova. Something about the ship bothered him. The damage looked strange. Too organized. Too neat. Almost as if someone wanted the ship to appear broken. He studied every detail on the screen. The strange markings. The damaged engines. The dark hull. The more he looked, the more questions filled his mind. Why had nobody figured it out? Why had every owner failed? And why did the ship not look abandoned? The auctioneer sighed. "If there are no offers, we will end the bidding." At that moment, Ethan slowly raised his hand. The hall became silent. For a second, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The auctioneer blinked in surprise. "You wish to bid?" Ethan nodded. "I'll offer the starting price." The giant screen immediately displayed his bid. A shocked silence filled the room. Then the laughter began. Louder than before. Some people nearly fell from their seats. A human mechanic? He's throwing his money away. Somebody warn him. The jokes came from every direction. But Ethan ignored them. He kept his eyes on the image of the Black Nova. Something inside him said the ship was important. Very important. You wasted your money. That ship is cursed. You should sell it before you lose everything. Ethan simply smiled and ignored them. He wanted answers. Nothing else mattered. The next morning, he began his inspection. At first, the Black Nova looked exactly as everyone described. Dead systems. Broken wiring. Damaged engines. Corroded panels. Everything appeared useless. But after several hours, Ethan noticed something strange. The damage did not look natural. It looked planned. He continued searching. The deeper he explored, the stranger things became. Everywhere he looked, he found signs of deliberate sabotage. Someone had wanted the ship to appear worthless. Someone had worked very hard to hide its true condition. By evening, Ethan was convinced. The Black Nova was not a wreck. It was wearing a disguise. His curiosity grew stronger. The next day, he entered the engine section. The massive room was covered in dust. Ancient machinery filled every wall. Most of it looked inactive. While examining a damaged panel, Ethan noticed something unusual. One metal plate had no dust on it. The surrounding area was dirty. But this section looked clean. Almost as if it had been touched recently. Ethan carefully removed the plate. Behind it was a hidden compartment. His heart began to race. Nobody had mentioned secret compartments in any report. Slowly, he opened it. Inside was a small black cube. The object was smooth and perfectly shaped. No buttons. No markings. No visible power source. Just a black cube resting in the darkness. Ethan picked it up carefully. The moment his fingers touched it, the cube suddenly lit up. Blue symbols appeared across its surface. Ethan nearly dropped it. What the? The symbols moved rapidly. They formed patterns he had never seen before. His translator implant tried to understand them. It failed. Again and again. Nothing matched any known language in the Galactic database. That alone was shocking. Every major language in the galaxy had been catalogued centuries ago. Yet this language was completely unknown. Then Ethan noticed something else. One symbol appeared repeatedly. A strange black star. The same symbol painted on the outer hull of the Black Nova. The same symbol that appeared in old auction records. The same symbol nobody had ever explained. Ethan's excitement grew. For the first time in 200 years, someone had found something new. He quickly recorded everything. Hours passed as he studied the cube. But no matter what he tried, the message refused to translate. Eventually, he placed the cube on his workbench and decided to continue searching the ship. Maybe there were more clues hidden somewhere else. For the next several days, Ethan explored every corridor. He discovered sealed rooms. Hidden storage areas. Strange devices built from materials unknown to modern science. The deeper he searched, the more convinced he became. The Black Nova was far more advanced than anyone realized. Then something happened. Late one night, Ethan was alone inside the ship. The station was quiet. Most workers were asleep. He was reviewing his notes when the lights suddenly flickered. At first, he thought the station power had failed. Then every screen inside the Black Nova turned on. At the same time, Ethan jumped to his feet. What just happened? The ship had been completely dead for centuries. Yet now glowing symbols appeared across every display. Blue lights traveled through the walls. Ancient systems began waking up one by one. A deep vibration echoed through the entire vessel. The sound felt almost like a heartbeat. Ethan rushed toward the control room. Doors that had never opened before slowly slid apart. Hidden pathways appeared. Panels moved by themselves. The entire ship seemed alive. Then the black cube on his workbench began glowing brighter than ever. The mysterious symbols started spinning rapidly. A powerful pulse moved through the ship. Every light became brighter. Every system became active. Ethan stared in disbelief. For 200 years, nobody had activated the black nova. Not scientists. Not engineers. Not governments. Nobody. Yet somehow, the ship was responding to him. Then a final message appeared on the nearest screen. Unlike the earlier symbols, this message translated perfectly. Ethan read the words. His blood ran cold. Authorized user detected. For several seconds, he could only stare. The ship knew he was there. The ship had recognized him. And somewhere deep inside the black nova, something ancient had finally awakened. Ethan stood frozen in front of the glowing screen. The words remained there. Authorized user detected. For a moment, he thought he was dreaming. This could not be happening. For over 200 years, the black nova had been studied by some of the smartest minds in the galaxy. Scientists, engineers, and researchers had all failed to activate it. Yet somehow, the ship had recognized him. A simple human mechanic. The lights inside the control room continued glowing softly. The deep vibration moving through the ship became stronger. It almost felt like a giant heart beating somewhere inside the vessel. Ethan slowly stepped closer to the main console. The screen changed. New symbols appeared. Most of them were still impossible to understand. But now the ship's translator seemed to be learning. A few words began appearing in Galactic Common. Ethan carefully read them. System recovery in progress. Core functions restoring. Access level 1 granted. Before Ethan could react, another surprise came. A section of the wall suddenly moved. Metal panels slid aside with a loud mechanical sound. Dust fell onto the floor. A hidden doorway appeared. Ethan stared at it. He had searched this room several times. The doorway had never been there before. The black nova was revealing something. Taking a flashlight, Ethan stepped through the opening. The hidden corridor was narrow and dark. Ancient lights slowly turned on as he walked forward. The ship seemed to know exactly where he was. Every step revealed more of the secret passage. After several minutes, he reached a sealed chamber. The door opened automatically. Inside was a room unlike anything he had ever seen. Strange devices covered the walls. Transparent screens floated in the air. Silver-colored machines rested inside glass containers. None of the technology matched anything known in the galaxy. Ethan's eyes widened. "This isn't possible," he whispered. Even the most advanced civilizations did not possess equipment like this. The room looked thousands of years ahead of modern technology. Then his attention moved to the center of the chamber. There stood a large crystal-like structure. Dark black on the outside. Bright blue light flowing inside. As Ethan approached it, the crystal suddenly activated. Images appeared in the air. Stars. Planets. Galaxies. Countless locations flashed before his eyes. It looked like a giant star map. The images moved quickly until they stopped at a single region of space. The area was marked with a bright red symbol. Ethan recognized it immediately. The black star symbol. The same symbol found on the mysterious cube. The same symbol painted on the ship's hull. Then a message appeared beneath the map. Destination locked. Awaiting authorized journey. Ethan frowned. Journey to where? The map zoomed closer. A section of space appeared. Even without coordinates, Ethan knew the location. Everyone in the galaxy knew it. The Forbidden Zone. A dangerous region beyond the outer trade routes. Ships rarely entered it. Most never returned. Stories about the area filled countless books and documentaries. Strange signals. Disappearing fleets. Unexplained phenomena. Many believed the region was cursed. Others claimed something ancient lived there. No one knew the truth. And now the black nova seemed to be pointing directly toward it. Ethan felt a mixture of excitement and fear. Whatever secret the ship protected, the answer was waiting there. But before he could think further, another screen activated. A warning appeared. External observers detected. Ethan's stomach tightened. Observers? Who was watching? He quickly returned to the control room. The ship displayed several incoming communications. Dozens of them. Some came from private collectors. Others came from research organizations. A few came from government officials. The activation of the black nova had somehow become public. News spread across the galaxy faster than Ethan expected. The impossible had happened. The dead ship had awakened. And everyone wanted to know why. Within hours, offers began arriving. One wealthy collector offered 10 million credits. Another offered 20 million. A research corporation offered 50 million. The numbers continued rising. Each offer was larger than the last. Ethan ignored every one of them. He had not bought the ship to become rich. He wanted answers. The next day, the situation became even stranger. A representative from a powerful galactic government contacted him directly. Their message was short. Name your price. Ethan refused again. Minutes later, another message arrived. This one sounded less friendly. The black nova contains property of historical importance. Cooperation is advised. Ethan did not like the tone. The ship was attracting attention from people with power. People who were used to getting what they wanted. That night, he sat alone inside the control room. The star map still glowed softly. The Forbidden Zone remained highlighted. Waiting. Calling. Almost inviting him. Then something unexpected happened. The mysterious black cube suddenly activated again. Blue symbols appeared across its surface. For the first time, a clear translation followed. Only one sentence appeared. Ethan read it slowly. His heart immediately began beating faster. They are coming. You must reach the gate first. The message disappeared. Silence returned. Ethan stared at the cube. His mind raced with questions. Who was coming? What gate? And why was there suddenly a race? One thing was certain. The black nova had not awakened by accident. Something ancient was guiding him. Something hidden for centuries. And now others had noticed. Far across the galaxy, powerful groups were already moving. They wanted the black nova. They wanted its secrets. And they were willing to do almost anything to get them. For the first time since buying the ship, Ethan realized the truth. He was no longer chasing a mystery. Now the mystery was pulling him toward something much bigger. Something dangerous. Something that could change the entire galaxy forever. Ethan sat inside the black nova's control room, staring at the glowing star map. The forbidden zone still pulsed in red light. The message from the cube still echoed in his mind. They are coming. You must reach the gate first. He did not sleep that night. The ship was quiet, but it no longer felt empty. It felt awake. Like something inside it was watching him. The next morning, Ethan made a decision. If the ship wanted him to go to the forbidden zone, then he would go. But he needed answers before jumping into danger. He started deep scanning every hidden file inside the Black Nova. The ship responded instantly. As if it was waiting for this request. Walls lit up. Hidden data streams opened. Ancient records started unlocking one by one. Hours passed. Then days. Ethan barely ate or rested. He worked like a man possessed. Finally, the ship revealed something important. A hidden archive. It opened like a sealed memory from another time. What he saw changed everything. It was not just a ship. The Black Nova was part of something much bigger. A message from an ancient civilization. A race that existed long before any known species in the galaxy. Ethan watched as holographic images formed in front of him. Tall cities. Strange worlds. A powerful civilization that once ruled across hundreds of star systems. They called themselves the Arcanis. They were not warlike. They were builders. Explorers. Creators of advanced systems that modern science could not understand. But their final message was not peaceful. It was a warning. The hologram shifted. The stars turned dark. The Arcani civilization showed images of destruction. Something had come from beyond known space. A force that could not be controlled. It spread across galaxies like a disease. Worlds disappeared. Entire fleets were destroyed without a trace. The Arcanis tried to fight it. But they failed. So they built something special. A final plan. A hidden system designed to survive after their fall. The Black Nova was part of that plan. Ethan watched in silence as the truth unfolded. The ship was not just a vessel. It was a key. A guide meant to find the only safe path through the ruins of the old civilization. The star map was not random. It was a route. A protected path leading to something called the Gate. The last remaining structure of the Arcanis. A place where their final knowledge was stored. But there was more. The hologram changed again. A symbol appeared. The same black star Ethan had seen everywhere. The system translated it. The Guardian Network. Ethan frowned. A voice recording activated next. It sounded ancient. Calm. But filled with sadness. If you are hearing this, then we are gone. Our civilization has fallen. But our knowledge must not die. The Black Nova will choose the one who is worthy. The one who understands machines, not just controls them. The one who fixes what others abandon. Ethan felt a strange chill. The message continued. The gate holds everything we left behind. But it is protected. And only the chosen can enter. Then everything stopped. The hologram faded. The room became silent again. Ethan stood still, trying to understand what he had just heard. The Black Nova was not broken. It was not cursed. It was a selection system. It had rejected hundreds of owners for centuries. Because none of them were worthy. Only someone like Ethan, someone who repaired broken things instead of replacing them, could activate it. That was why the ship responded to him. That was why the cube awakened. That was why the systems came alive. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the ship. Ethan turned quickly. A new message appeared on the main screen. Multiple warships detected. His heart dropped. He zoomed the display. Dozens of ships were entering the system boundary. They were fast. Armed. Organized. Not random pirates. These were professional fleets. And they were heading straight for him. A second message appeared. Unknown factions confirmed. Signal origin, Galactic government, private collectors, and black market alliance. Ethan understood immediately. They were all coming for the Black Nova. The secret was out. The galaxy now knew the ship had awakened. And now everyone wanted control of it. The Black Nova spoke again. A calm system voice filled the room. Warning, hostile presence approaching. Defense systems limited. Recommend immediate departure. Ethan clenched his fists. He was not ready. But he had no choice. If he stayed, he would be captured. If he ran, he might still reach the gate. He looked at the glowing star map. The forbidden zone pulsed like a heartbeat. Waiting. Calling. Outside the ship, enemy fleets were closing in fast. Inside the ship, ancient systems slowly began activating again. As if the Black Nova itself understood what was coming next. And accepted it. Ethan took a deep breath. Then he spoke quietly. All right, let's see what you're really hiding. The Black Nova responded instantly. Engines began to power up. For the first time in centuries, the ship prepared for jump. And the chase for the gate officially began. The space around Orbital Station 7 turned silent for only a moment. Then everything changed. Dozens of warships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. Their arrival was not random. It was planned. Perfectly timed. Like hunters surrounding their prey. Inside the Black Nova, Ethan watched the tactical screen with sharp eyes. Each enemy ship was marked in red. Heavy cruisers. Fast interceptors. Shielded command ships. This was not a small force. It was a full military fleet. A voice came from the ship's system. Hostile fleet confirmed. Enemy intent, capture or destroy. Ethan's jaw tightened. They didn't come to talk, he said quietly. Outside, the station alarms began to scream. Workers ran in panic. Small ships tried to escape the dock. But the enemy fleet did not care about them. Their target was clear. The Black Nova. A command signal appeared on Ethan's screen. Unknown transmission. He accepted it. A holographic image formed in front of him. A tall alien warlord appeared. Covered in armor made of dark metal. His eyes were cold and confident. So, the warlord said, the human mechanic thinks he owns the Black Nova. Ethan said nothing. The warlord smiled slightly. You are standing in the middle of something you do not understand. The ship belongs to history. To power. To those who deserve it. Ethan finally spoke. I bought it. That makes it mine. The warlord laughed. A deep, cruel sound. No, he replied. It makes you temporary. The communication ended. Immediately, the attack began. The first wave of ships fired. Energy beams lit up space like burning lightning. The station's shields activated, but they were weak. Explosions shook the entire structure. Inside the Black Nova, systems responded instantly. Incoming fire detected. Auto defense engaging. But Ethan knew something was wrong. The ship was powerful, but still incomplete. It was waking up too slowly. Outside, enemy ships moved in formation. They were not chaotic. They were controlled. Professional. They were preparing to capture the Black Nova intact. Not destroy it. That was even worse. Ethan grabbed the controls. Can we jump? He asked. The system replied. Jump drive, 47% charged. Insufficient for safe transit. Another explosion rocked the ship. Panels flickered. Systems failed for a moment. Then came another message from the cube. It activated on its own. Blue symbols flashed urgently. A translation appeared. Do not run. Fight with what you have. Ethan stared at it. That's easy for you to say, he muttered. But something inside him changed. He looked at the ship differently. Not as a broken relic. But as a puzzle. A machine built with hidden purpose. He rushed to the engineering console. Show me all active systems, he ordered. The display changed instantly. Most systems were unstable. But some were still alive. Old defense grids. Experimental energy channels. Unused auxiliary power lines. Ethan's eyes narrowed. They hid everything, he said. Another enemy volley struck. The ship shook violently. Ethan made a decision. He rerouted power manually. Not the safe way. Not the correct way. The human way. He connected damaged systems together. Overloaded energy paths. Forced unstable circuits to work together. The ship protested. Warning alarms screamed. But slowly. Something responded. Outside, one enemy cruiser fired a final blast toward the Black Nova. But suddenly, the ship reacted. A hidden defense system activated. A pulse of energy exploded outward. The cruiser froze mid-space. Its systems shut down instantly. Then drifted powerless. Ethan blinked. What just happened? The Black Nova answered. Ancient defense layer, activated. The warlord's voice returned immediately. Now serious. What did you do? Ethan did not answer. Because he did not fully understand it himself. More enemy ships moved in. This time faster. Angrier. They had lost one ship. And now they were not holding back. The battlefield turned chaotic. Lasers crossed in every direction. Explosions lit up the dark void. The station was collapsing. And in the middle of it all, the Black Nova began to change. Hidden weapons started revealing themselves. Panels shifted. Energy cores awakened. The ship was no longer dead. It was waking up in pieces. But it was still not complete. And Ethan knew one thing clearly. If the war continued like this, he would not survive long enough to reach the gate. Neither would the ship. But as he looked at the glowing systems around him, he realized something important. The Black Nova was not just a ship trying to survive. It was testing him again. Even now. Even in war. And if he failed this test, everything would be lost in silence. The battlefield around the Black Nova was burning. Enemy ships filled the sky like a dark storm. Explosions lit the void in bright flashes. The station behind them was already collapsing, broken by the ongoing war. Inside the Black Nova, Ethan Cole stood still for a moment. His hands were shaking slightly, but his eyes were focused. He had no time to fear. No time to doubt. Only action remained. The ship was barely holding together. Systems flickered. Warning alarms screamed non-stop. But something had changed. The Black Nova was no longer silent. It was responding faster. Stronger. Like it had finally accepted Ethan as part of it. A calm system voice spoke. Core alignment in progress. User input accepted as primary control. Ethan looked at the screen. Just hold together, he whispered. Outside, the enemy warlords' fleet regrouped. They had suffered losses. But their numbers were still overwhelming. The warlord's voice came again through communication channels. You cannot win this, human. Give us the ship, and your death will be quick. Ethan did not respond immediately. He looked at the star map. The gate still glowed in the distance. So close. But still unreachable. He took a deep breath. Then he spoke calmly. I am not giving you anything. The warlord's expression turned cold. Then you will be erased. The final assault began. Hundreds of weapons fired at once. The space around the Black Nova turned into pure destruction. But this time, the ship reacted differently. It was not just defending. It was transforming. Hidden systems that had never been fully active began to unlock. The walls of the ship shifted. New energy channels lit up like veins of light. Ancient technology that no modern species had ever seen came alive. Ethan felt it through the controls. The ship was connecting to him completely. Not just following commands. But learning from him. Adapting. The Black Nova spoke. Final protocol available. Ethan hesitated. What is it? The answer came immediately. Inheritance system, gate access requirement. Ethan's eyes narrowed. This is it. He realized the truth. The ship was never meant to win battles through force. It was meant to reach the gate. Everything else was just testing. Even the war. Even the danger. Even him. Ethan made his decision. Activate it. For a moment, everything stopped. The battlefield outside seemed to freeze. Enemy fire slowed. Systems inside the Black Nova went silent. Then the ship responded. Final protocol, accepted. A deep vibration spread through the entire vessel. The black cube appeared again in front of Ethan. But this time, it did not just glow. It opened. Inside it was not a device. It was data. Pure information. The history of the Arcani's civilization. Their knowledge. Their technology. Their final hope. It poured into the ship. And into Ethan's mind through the interface. He gasped. Images filled his vision. Entire worlds being built. Stars being studied. Ancient engineers designing systems beyond imagination. Then the warning returned. The same enemy that destroyed the Arcanis. A force that consumed everything in its path. But now something else appeared. A solution. A path. The gate was not just a place. It was a shield. A surviving point of control. And the Black Nova was the key to activate it. Ethan suddenly understood everything. This was never about survival, he said quietly. It was about continuation. Outside, the warlord's fleet prepared for the final strike. But the Black Nova changed again. Its core began to glow intensely. A massive energy field expanded around it. Not an explosion. A formation. A structure forming in space. The gate was beginning to activate. The warlord shouted in anger. No. Stop the activation. But it was too late. The Black Nova had completed its purpose. Ancient systems locked into place. Space itself seemed to bend. A massive structure appeared in the darkness. A gateway built from lost technology. Bright. Impossible. Endless. The gate had awakened. Ethan stood in silence. The ship's voice spoke softly. Inheritance transfer complete. New path created. Protector designation, human. The enemy fleet stopped firing. Even they were stunned. They had come for power. For control. But what they saw was something beyond their understanding. The warlord's voice came one last time. This cannot be real. Ethan looked at the gate. Then at the fleet. And finally at the ship that had chosen him. You were wrong, he said quietly. I am not the owner of this ship. I am what it chose to become. The Black Nova system stabilized. For the first time, it was complete. Whole. And alive in purpose. The gate expanded fully. A pathway to knowledge, survival, and future civilizations opened in the void. Ethan gave one final command. Open the path. The Black Nova obeyed. Light filled the battlefield. The enemy fleet was pushed back, powerless against the activation. And as the gate fully opened, the galaxy changed forever. Not because of weapons. Not because of war. But because a human mechanic repaired what others called broken. And unlocked the legacy of a lost civilization. Far behind him, the Black Nova floated in silence. No longer a mystery. No longer a junk ship. But a symbol. Of humanity's greatest truth. That even in the darkest space. They do not destroy what is broken. They fix it. And sometimes. That is enough to reshape the universe.